I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're exploring one of my favorite children's books. It helps young readers make sense of one of the most sudden and confusing moments in recent history. It is called Daisy and Friends, What Happened to Yesterday, a COVID-19 story, and it's written by one of my favorite authors, one of my favorite guests. Her name is Barbara J. Meredith. And in the book, she breaks down the pandemic's impact in a way that children can understand, offering comfort and clarity in an uncertain time. If you're looking for a book that explains change in a way that kids can grasp, this is a must read. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below the interview, and be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Barbara, thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me again.
It's wonderful to have you on the show as always. COVID-19, the pandemic, the lockdown, the inability to go to school, the inability to be near friends, family, and neighbors had a great impact on our children, don't you think?
Yes, it did. And kids really didn't know what was going on at the time. They couldn't understand it because the language was set for adults and not for children. So what
Exactly.
I did, so what I tried to do with my book is to bring it all the information, and even for adults, it was information overload. They
Yeah.
so that the kids could understand why their life changed in a few days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell us how
my
you break down that information in the book. What do you tell the children? How do you explain it?
well, I explain it that I have all the definitions at the beginning of the book of all the new keywords. Um, I just went blank. Um,
Well, there's a lockdown, there were masks, there was the
COVID.
coronavirus.
Yes, COVID-19, pandemic, essential worker, and mask.
Mm.
And I bring the definition down to a child's level so they can understand the difference between a Halloween mask and a mask to protect you from illness.
Mm.
So that's one way I broke it down. The other ways that I broke it down is that they went to school on Monday. That
Mhm.
following Friday, everywhere, the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
So I got tried to have them understand that it's just something that happened to everybody and that there were new rules and they had to stay 6 feet apart and they couldn't no longer go play with their friends.
Yeah.
But they had an alternative. They can call them on the phone, use FaceTime, interact while playing video games, and even use Zoom to
Mm.
be in the classroom. So I
Exactly.
got to their level so that they could understand their lives, the big life change. And it was a life change for everybody.
Oh, yeah. And those impacts are still being felt today. And I think they're still being felt by children as well, because the way they react, the way they learn, the way they interact has been affected perhaps going forward because so much of our stuff is now remote. Tell us about Daisy and her friends. That's the unique part of this book. That's your wonderful vehicle to tell the story.
Daisy and friends are actually my own pets.
Mhm.
Daisy's an actual cat, and
Yeah.
she's still going strong. She's 21 years old.
Wow.
Yes. I no longer have the three dogs I passed on, but I have four new dogs.
Wow. Okay, you got a full house with animals there. So no doubt you are a big animal lover as well as a children lover as well. But using the animals to tell the story makes it so relatable and intriguing to children, don't you think?
It does. I find that children relate more to animals and than they would to people.
Yeah.
Because the animals are more intriguing,
Yeah.
and they hold the child's attention longer than if you're a teacher standing in front of them and lecturing them. They kind of tune them out after a while. But the fun of watching an animal tell a story really excites them and makes them feel on equal level.
Exactly. And you've got a lot of experience with children because you have extensive work in a preschool setting. Tell us about that.
I worked, I owned, co-owned Kids Express Learning Center and Daycare in Willington, Connecticut. And I owned that for 15 years. And we kind of specialized on children that had learning disabilities, like that they were ADD or ADHD or dyslexic, or just needed to find their little space where they could learn and evolve on their own. So we helped them with that.
Wonderful.
And then the interaction with the kids also set the tone of to writing all my books, because from observing them for all those years, I was able to get hands-on information and how they think, how they react to things.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
you've got a
just,
front row seat to see how children understand what connects with them, what doesn't. And you know, for example, that they were crazy about animals, right?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, all kids are. They love
exactly.
them, and they
Exactly.
all love their stuffy, so.
Yep, and us big kids too were crazy about our animals too, without a doubt. This book has been well received at major book fairs around the world, Publishers Weekly, up for awards. Tell us a little bit about the reception it's received.
I, it surprises me that I have been getting so much um, appreciation for my books. Because for me, it was just something to do. Because my husband was in the hospital for 6 months,
Hmm.
and I was home at night. So the first book is I changed my curriculum into book form.
Hmm.
And then I sent it to publishers and they all liked it. And I still cannot believe how much publicity I am getting for something that I feel is so simply written
Hmm.
and understandable to children, get so become so popular.
Well, that's sometimes hard to do, to write it simply, to make it understandable, to convey a message on a level that children can understand, that's entertaining as well. And you have done all that in this book. How many books are there in the Daisy and Friends series?
There are five. The first one was Daisy and Friends How to Stay Healthy.
Mhm.
Next one was Daisy and Friends, Rocky's New Friend. Rocky's New Friend is changing a bully into a friend without adult supervision.
Great.
And then there's Waiting for the School Bus, which is a rhyming book. It was actually a game I used to play at the daycare with the pre-Ks,
Mhm.
waiting for the school-age kids to get off the bus. We'd be all lined up in front of the windows, and I'll say, "Is that the school bus?" And they'll say no and tell me what the vehicle is. And I just took that game and put it into book format.
Hmm.
And then there's Daisy and Friends Outside Our Window. Now, with something else that I got from the working at the daycare, 'cause, I would bring the kids up as part of the curriculum, and they all look out the window and they would describe what they see outside for the changing of the seasons, what to wear for the weather. And then I took all that information and I put it into a very simple seasonal changing of the seasons book. from just looking out your window, how the landscape changes, how the climate changes.
Wonderful, wonderful. And this, of course, would be a great video series as well for, any of the children's networks such as Hulu or Nickelodeon or Disney. I think it'd be very relatable, a great way to get information out there to the young people. We've been talking about a wonderful series today, folks. It is called Daisy and Friends, specifically focusing on one of the five books, Daisy and Friends, What Happened to Yesterday, a COVID-19 story. They're all written by a wonderful author. Her name is Barbara J. Meredith, and she breaks down the pandemic's impact in a way that children can understand, offering comfort and clarity in an uncertain time. Barbara, thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.